Intelligence concepts.
Hello. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for inviting me to be here. I recently discovered how important emotional intelligence is, and so I think it's important for our children to learn about it. We are at that time, or generation-wise, the time where we're encouraged to share our emotions, and it helps build emotional intelligence. And I'm going to spoil this a little bit for you all, that having the ability to be emotionally intelligent is very essential in many things that we do as humans. And you guys are going to see this when I start describing some of the skills and some of the outcomes that come out of being highly or being emotionally intelligent at all. So emotional intelligence is the ability to essentially perceive emotions, so to be able to notice emotions in other people and in ourselves, reasoning with emotions, so understanding what the emotion is and why it's happening, understanding emotions in ourselves and in others, so why did someone behave in this way? I need to understand so that I know how to respond, so essentially how to manage my own emotions. I had a subset of information on what emotions are, but they only gave me 20 minutes, so we don't have time to do that. But can we show that first video, Taylor? Thank you. This is a clip from the Inside Out movie.
Today, you did not make it
no
choice.
Not that one. Oh, we deleted the first one?
No, this is the order.
Oh, okay. So, sorry guys. The clip was from the movie, the clip that I thought we had was from the movie Inside Out. And when that movie came out, have you guys seen it? Yes. In psychology, we're so excited about that movie because it was one of the first things that was addressing emotions, defining them and understanding them and working with emotions. And so we were super excited about it. And the second movie came out, and so it's an indicator of what I was talking about, of how important emotions and emotional intelligence have become in this time. So some of the important emotional intelligence characteristics are social skills. That in order to be able to understand and reason with other people, we need to be able to understand and reason with their intentions, their goals, how they're feeling, how different successes and different failures affect them, so we can build good relationships. We need to be self-aware. So the ability to recognize our own emotions, our strengths, our limitations, being able to admit those limitations, which for some of us is really difficult. Self-regulation, this is a huge one in psychology, to be able to self-regulate not only our behaviors, but also our emotions, things that we say to other people, and when we say them to other people. In fact, self-regulation is a very strong predictor of how successful a person will be. So we know that if a child is able to self-regulate their emotions, their behaviors, their thoughts, that we know that they're gonna most likely be successful in relationships, their job, school, and all that stuff that we seem to value practically in our communities. Another characteristic of emotional intelligence is empathy. And empathy has been here for a while, but we've more recently started practicing it or promoting it more and more. That essentially empathy is being able to identify other people's thoughts and emotions, essentially being able to step in someone else's shoes and feel what they're feeling so that we can help them, be there for them, or get out of the way if we need to sometimes. And then the last skill, or one of the more important last skills that I list here is emotional intelligence is very closely related to motivation. And it's not any type of motivation, but it's motivation to do the things that we enjoy doing for the sake of enjoying doing them, pursuing the goals and the values that we want to pursue, that we think are important for us and for other people around us. And so being motivated to do something in humans is a big source of happiness, more so than actually achieving the thing that we're striving to pursue. So that motivation is a very important skill to be able to have. Now can we play that video? Sorry. Okay, so this is what emotional intelligence looks like.
Today, you did not make a smart choice. So, you hurt my feelings by not going outside. So that's why I didn't want to make this a smart choice. You know, earlier, I couldn't go outside, so I was still a little sad.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but that was a consequence.
But after I was a little sad, I was a little bit upset. More than a little.
More than a little upset?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We all get upset sometimes.
Yeah.
We don't get what we want all the time.
Uh-huh. Mama also don't. Papa also don't. But it's hard for babies to do that. They're still babies. They don't understand they have to not do that. You know, earlier, baby dropped the plate and Papa got angry at her, and I told Papa to stop breathe slow and make a smart choice for Papa.
And then did he do it?
Yeah, but earlier I chose to be a tiny bit mad, but after a while I was okay.
You were okay?
Mm-hmm.
Life is like that. We get upset, we get mad, we cry.
That's emotions, Mama.
That's emotions, I know. And then we feel better after we cry.
Yep. You do, even when you're upset or angry. Always different kinds of feelings. Even though when you're scared.
That's another emotion.
Yeah, a different kind of emotion. No, I was wrong. Today, I had a hard time doing my emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just today.
That's okay.
But it means,
We're learning. You're learning also.
Even though when I was that mad, you still love me that so much?
Of course. Always.
Yeah, I love you too.
Thank you. So the final message was exactly the final message that the all ages story that was read earlier, is that we still love each other despite all the other emotions and all the other things that happen between us. So I love this video. It went viral several years ago, but this kid is maybe 3 years old, and he's hitting most of the points that we consider to be emotional intelligence. And my guess is that his parents had these conversations with him early on in his life, and so he's regurgitating some of the stuff that his parents are talking about, but he's starting to understand the concepts of being emotionally intelligent, so perceiving his own emotions. So some of the things that he did is he definitely acknowledged his limitations. He said that he was wrong at a certain point. He knew why he got mad, because he didn't get his way, and he understood that not everybody gets their way. Self-acceptance. Everybody has emotions. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to be angry. Ability to make mistakes, responsibility for mistakes. He did that, and he's 3. Some of us adults have difficulty doing that. Sensitivity to feelings of other people. He talked about his father's feelings. He talked about his baby sister's feelings. And he understood why they had those feelings. And in fact, he had a chat with his father, and he said something like, "Don't be angry at the baby because it's just a baby." And apparently the father understood, and he wasn't angry anymore. So he was able to reason and sway other people's emotions. Not being judgmental to others, having great listening skills, ability to manage emotions in difficult situations, curiosity. So he was curious about why his father, why his sister were doing certain things. And then ability to accept and embrace change. So that's why I love that video. It's just such, well, it's a cute kid too, and it's something that we don't really see very often, that people at such a young age are hitting a lot of those emotional intelligence skills. And while emotional intelligence can be something that's acquired through genetics, and I always talk about my 4-year-old niece, that as soon as she was brought from the hospital, you could tell that there was something there, that she was managing her emotions. But since she was able enough to speak, she knew when she was hungry and she would ask to be fed. So at 1.5 or 2 years old. And she knew, better even still, that when she was tired, she needed to go take a break and take a nap. And I understand that children don't do that. They're resistant to taking naps, even though they're very tired. And I also often compare my niece to her brother, who is much older than she is, and he gets hangry. So he feels hungry and then becomes angry and frustrated about it. And he doesn't realize that he's angry, frustrated, and he doesn't realize that he's hungry. And he's 7 years old. So yes, I think that's an indicator of how emotional intelligence skills, being able to see inside our thoughts and our emotions and also outside toward other people, is something that's inherited. But I also believe, and there's research to support, that these skills can be worked on and developed. And we use them every day. We see people all the time, and we emote with ourselves. And so some of the positive outcomes of emotional intelligence are very people-based. So people with high emotional intelligence are better at social and communication skills. They have better relationships. They're better at leading because they understand their followers' needs and emotions, and they adapt accordingly. Better at academics and work, managing stress, being adaptable, maintaining health. And in the past, some research have argued that emotional intelligence is a better indicator for success, health, and happiness than the cognitive intelligence that we in the past have placed so much importance onto. Right? So how smart are you? That's how far you're going to go in your job and in your life. Where, in fact, maybe emotional intelligence, we should place more importance into that, because all of us have relationships with people, and relationships with people benefit us. So why not invest in making those good relationships? And when I teach, I tell my students there are 3 things that can solve almost every problem. And 2 of those are in the emotional intelligence skills. So social support, empathy, and then education or knowledge. So emotional intelligence is very important for us to have. There are some negatives to high emotional intelligence, and as an academic, I'm required to disclaim some things, so don't go too crazy if you're trying to learn all these skills. But it has been found that highly emotional intelligent people tend to be less creative or innovative, and that's an important thing for humans and our cultures to be able to create and innovate, to be willing to fail and be willing to let the next person pick up what we dropped and innovate and be better than us. Difficulty delivering negative feedback because you're afraid you're going to hurt someone's feelings. I know I have that problem. And then high emotional intelligence can sometimes be used to manipulate and deceive people. And so I think this is one of the more negative things of emotional intelligence. If you know which buttons to press in a person because you've noticed how they behave and how they emote, what they care about, what they don't care about, then it can be tempting to use that knowledge to our self-benefit. So what's the take home here? If these are skills, then skills can be developed. Some of these skills are a little bit harder to develop than others, and they need more practice. Humans resist dropping old habits and picking up new ones. But we can still do it. And I think it's, especially in today's climate where we've forgotten to be with other people or how to be with other people, and come into the middle and, find commonalities. It's important to start developing these skills or to at least put some more attention into them. And so, the number one, thing is to listen. If you don't pay attention, you're never going to be able to pick up on any nuances. And for some of us, it's really hard to listen. And so it's a practice that we can train ourselves in. So what is the other person saying? I'm not going to be judgmental of what it is that they're saying so that they can say it freely. We need to look at verbal communication, but also nonverbal communication. I think some research says that 90% of the communication that we enact as humans is nonverbal. And some of us are better, and some of us are not as good at deciphering nonverbal communication. But most of us can do it a little bit, and we can get better at it if we pay attention and if we listen. What did the person say contributed to the emotions that they were feeling? Did they identify their own emotions? Then I need to listen to be able to hear that. Another one, the second one, is how to improve our intelligence through empathizing. I have never been a good empath, but I was trained to be one, and it's helped me a lot in my teaching. So I used to be a crisis counselor for a suicide hotline, and one of the biggest things they teach us is to empathize. To put ourselves into other person's shoes, to understand what it is that they're talking about, and understand how we can help them. And this has helped me, like I said, be a better teacher, because all of our students, like most of us, have a lot of things going on, and being a student is extremely stressful. And it's good to be able to understand that stress, to be able to help them better. And then the last one here is reflect. So this one is, after we've listened, after we have the information, then reflect on what do those feelings mean to other people. Consider why they behave the way that they behave. So instead of judging and coming to conclusions about, well, this person behaved poorly because they're a bad person, we reflect and think, well, what would I have done in that situation? I can give them some leeway because they were feeling this and they weren't able to express it, or they didn't think that they had a choice to be a different way. So when you think about other people and how they respond, think about the role that their emotions played in the responses that they had. And emotions in humans are very complicated, and they're very strongly swayed by social cultural messages. we are allowed to emote in certain ways because other people emote in certain ways, and it's appropriate for us to emote in certain ways. And so it's always good to be able to understand individual differences in emoting, individual circumstances and situations in emoting, in order to be able to help or commune with people in general. So the take-home message for today's talk is listen, empathize, reflect, and please practice those as you move forward so that you can be that little kid too. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.